And I just want to remind all of you, some of you came after I said this already, but in order to stay connected, we need organizations like the Rhode Island Anti-War Committee that link up these various movements. So over on our table, we have a sign-up sheet for our announcement emails, and that we also publicize actions by other groups that are working with the common goals. So right now, I'd like to introduce Pat Fonz from Pax Christi, Rhode Island. Pat?
I'm going to try speaking without this, but I may need it.
Push the button.
Oh, push the button. This is the first time that I've spoken at one of these events as a representative of Pax Christi, rather than as an individual who's a member of various peace groups in Rhode Island. So I just want to give a little boost and describe the activities of Pax Christi recently and point out how you can help us. We have a table over here on the right where there are some documents. The first little reminder I have to make is when I usually talk to people about being a member of Pax Christi, they don't know Pax. It hasn't got an O in it. I'm not talking about small pox or chicken pox. I'm talking about Pax Christi. Now, there is a management firm, an investment, a socially responsible investment firm called Pax, and that's another place from which you should know that the word Pax is the Latin for peace, and that the name of this peace organization, Pax Christi, is the peace of Christ. Now, that responsible social development group called Pax has a mission somewhat similar to that of Pax Christi, in that they're looking at ending war, not at ending violence, not at a personal level, but at a social investment level and at a structural level, trying to restructure the financial investment system into a way that will foster peace and social justice. And that's what Pax Christi is doing. We are trying to get the Catholic Church to restructure itself as a peace church. We are not a church, we are not an organization, Pax Christi, only for Catholics. We have in the last year or two attracted 2 very strong, faithful Quaker members to our organization, and we have to shout out to them for the example they have set in maintaining the original peace message of Jesus. And the Catholic Church has to be pushed in the direction of doing the same thing. We are in some hopes that the Reverend John Deere, a Jesuit priest, has been in prison at least 36 or 37 times for his activity in the peace movement, is now being consulted by the Vatican with a view toward the possible publication of an encyclical on peace, one which will declare officially that the Catholic Church is adopting a non-violence program. Doctrine. We're known for doctrines and dogmas, but not necessarily for ones that have to do with non-violence and with peace. So I'm just going to read a few words here from Pope Francis. Many of you may not know that while we are pushing for the publication of this encyclical on peace and becoming a non-violent church, we are this year Pope Francis published an encyclical which many non-Catholic media are covering. It's called an encyclical on social fraternity, and it's completely has anti-war platform in it, and it also has strong message about the necessity of meeting each other across the world as brothers and sisters, the common fraternity, sorority of man. So let me just read this one quote from one of Pope Francis's addresses. Programs that address climate change, shelter the homeless, and improve health care and education for all, create more jobs than spending on weapons. At the present time, we reflect on which is more urgent: funding weapons that themselves pose an existential threat, or funding actions to face the existential threats currently being brought on by climate change, inequality, injustice, and the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't know whether any of you during the course of the last 2 or 3 months have seen the banner, the poster. There's one of them on the front of the table there, and there are, I think, others posted throughout the premises. This was a program Pax Christi funded to put those posters in the RIPTA bus kiosks. Is there anyone here who saw one? Okay. They were posted near the universities, near the mall, anywhere on the most traveled RIPTA kiosks where people wait for the bus. And they had the little images there where you click your phone on them and you get more information from the program to abolish nuclear weapons. We raised well over $2,000 through GoFundMe to carry on that program. We currently own the banners, the posters that were in the kiosks. So if any of you want to borrow one of those posters and spread the word about the importance of the international treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons, we would gladly get one to you. On my left over there, you see our next big sphere of action. One of our members, William Smith, spreads out on his lawn outside and makes those banners himself about the new treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. By the way, tomorrow from 12 to 1 o'clock, Pax Christi will be out in Woonsocket along again with the Quaker meeting people from the Smithfield Quaker Meeting House, posting those banners and trying to reach a corner of the state that I think has been notable for not having any specific anti-war activity going on. It isn't all that far down to Providence from Woonsocket, but the rest of the communities spreading across that northern tier from Woonsocket to Burrillville and Gloucester have really been an area where I, for one, have never seen any invitation to an anti-war activity. So we're spreading ourselves out into that zone with the posters. So anyway, I think that that's about an example of what we've been doing, what we'd like to get more people involved in doing. There are brochures over on the table there which describe Pax Christi. The organization was founded in Europe right after the Second World War as a Catholic peace initiative between Germans and French, who had obviously been on opposite sides in the war while we were in the same side in the pews. And they are celebrating their 75th anniversary, or did celebrate it last year. And next year, Pax Christi USA will be celebrating its 50th anniversary in the United States. So Pax Christi Rhode Island is a small but active group, open to members of all faith traditions, and we'd be happy to have you on board with us doing this kind of work. Thank you very much.